Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger, is brought to you by Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big. And by Whataburger. Head over to your hometown Whataburger and try the Patty Melt. They may not have been the first to think up this classic sandwich, but they put a pretty tasty spin on it.
It is time for another edition of Friday Night Stars from inside the Globe Life studios here at the Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Kyle Yeomans, and we really should call this Thursday Night Stars this week. We have made it to the finish line of the regular season, the 11th and final week of this regular season. And Kyle, a whole bunch of teams just can't wait to get there because they're moving up their Friday games to Thursday for some reason.
Yeah, it's not the weather or anything that's maybe schedule related. It's just the anticipation of wanting to get to where we know what's going to happen for these playoff matchups heading into next week. That's what it is.
At last count, I've got 68 games being played tonight and just 52 on Friday night because of the weather that's coming in to the area, including our games of the week this week. And let's get right to it because we've got some good ones, some district championships on the line, including the Whataburger game of the week as Everman takes on Midlothian Heritage, two 8-1 teams, and they're both 6-0 in District 5 5A Division 2.
And here's the thing, both of these teams are top 10 in 5A Division 2. Number 6 is Midlothian Heritage, number 10 is Everman. Both teams have not won a district since 2019. Midlothian Heritage won it in 2019. Everman last won a district title in 2017. And both teams legitimately have a shot to run for a state title. They were picked to finish 4th and 5th in this district, and all of a sudden, this is the district championship. But let's talk about Midlothian Heritage. You remember when we featured them on this show last year? We talked to the coaching staff. We had a big story around their turnaround. Well, Caden Durham, that quarterback for Heritage, South Dakota State commit, 2,000 yards passing and a 32-4 touchdown to interception ratio. He takes care of the football. They put up some big-time points, 450 yards per game on offense. And I'm interested to see how the short week affects specific teams. This might be one where it is affected because both teams played on Friday. You have this whole week of preparation, and you get that cut short by a day. We'll see how much that plays a factor.
Two first-year head coaches have been promoted from the staff. Eric Edwards at Heritage, Michael Boone at Everman. There's one guy I got to show you, though. His name is Kevin Allen. He plays defensive tackle for the Everman Bulldogs. They call him Big Kev, and you can see why here. You look at his huddle tape, and he's Aaron Donald. And he's picked up offers, and he's just getting on recruiting radars as a senior, 6'3", 280 pounds, as quick as a cat. SMU offered him last week. UTSA offered him last week. College coaches, get on this guy. Big Kevin Allen from Everman.
So I do a lot of work with North Texas athletics as well. I'm going to make sure that they get on the horn and try and maybe get this direction. Maybe I'll try and take this. I'll just send them the show feed and try and get them this because there's the huddle tape. That's all you need to see about how this guy can wreck an offense.
All right, let's move on to another Class 5A matchup. That's Justin Northwest against Denton Ryan. Pretty much a seeding game. District 3 5A Division 1. What a tough district this is. And the Texans of Northwest 5-2 in district play. The Raiders of Ryan also 5-2.
Both teams locked into playoffs at the moment, but like you said, seeding is on the line. And who would have thought the Denton Ryan Raiders would be fighting for the 4th and final spot in this district? And Justin Northwest absolutely has the offense to put Ryan in that 4th spot as well. Quarterback commit to Texas Tech, Jake Strong. He throws with an absolute cannon. I love watching his film. Winner plays into that 3rd seed spot in 3-5A Division 1, but both teams have already lost to Aledo and Burleson Centennial. So that's the number 1 and the number 2 spots in the district. Denton Ryan specifically, it's been a while since they've been in this situation, but they still have a ton of talent. You talk about Anthony Hill Jr., 5-star linebacker commit. Caleb Hicks and what he has done as a 4-star running back recruit. Dave Hennigan knows how to get his guys guys ready for a matchup like this where, sure, it could definitely affect your playoff seeding early on. Keep that in mind whenever they take on the Texans.
And the Ryan's Jordan Bailey, a TCU commit, and you mentioned Jake Strong, the Texas Tech commit, the quarterback for Justin Northwest. So a preview of Saturday at Amon G. Carter Stadium.
I like
Tech plays TCU. All right, how about this matchup? District 3, 5A, Division 2. It's the Denton Broncos and the Falcons of Lake Dallas. And these are two teams that are battling for that fourth and final playoff spot.
It is a playoff game. This is just the extension of the playoffs because Denton has turned their season around, and they've done so on the ground. We talked about the Landry Award watch list, and almost every week we talk about running backs. Coco Brown has been in the mix. 600 yards on the ground, or 1,600 yards on the ground. Let me not short him 1,000 yards. 21 touchdowns on the year, and a big offensive line that likes to run downhill. Lake Dallas on the other side, they started 6-0, got off to a great start, a great underclassmen group, very young football team, and then they've all of a sudden lost 3 straight to Independence, Argyle, and Emerson, all taking their win over the last couple of weeks, and some of those being in really tight football games. This is the final test for the Eagles that started 6-0, look to try and continue that momentum with a young group of guys and work into the playoffs. And I like what they have with Cade Bortnam at quarterback. He has to lead the way, but he was 9 of 12 last week for just 133 yards and a loss. Got to play better against the Denver Broncos, the Denton Broncos, and get the job done there as well.
Well, and Argyle, Emerson, Independence, you mentioned those three. They are combined 13-2 in district play, so they've got the top 3 spots in that district locked up. Now it's the battle for that fourth and final playoff spot. All right, some other notable games in the area, and I love the game at Pennington Field. LD Bell taking on Trinity, but others on the list, Red Oak in Midlothian, as they're playing for a district championship. Garland, Wiley, Parish Episcopal, and PCA.
Yeah, I like the LD Bell matchup, like you said. Both of those teams, you win, you're in. You could also lose, and you're out all of a sudden. So you've got that playoff game mentality, and Trinity has not missed the playoffs since 1997. It's been a long time since you haven't seen the Trojans in the postseason. But I want to go a little bit further down to that Garland and Wiley game being played on Friday at the moment. Of course, that could have at some point changed to maybe to Saturday or whatever it ends up being. But Garland, who was 10-0 last year, they have to win this game to be in the playoff, and they're going to go with a big rushing attack against the rushing defense of Wiley, a team that has a really stout front seven. Expect that to be a nice little battle back and forth.
And that district championship game, Red Oak and Midlothian, it has been since 1984, the last time Midlothian won a district championship, and Red Oaks won one district championship since 1989.
Wow.
So don't you know, those two communities are really going to be out for that showdown game in District 4 5A Division 1. We're just getting started on this edition of Friday Night Stars, which could be Thursday Night Stars. And up next, it's the Showdowns at the Star on both Thursday night and Friday night, for sure.
This segment was brought to you by Whataburger. Head over to your hometown Whataburger and try the Patty Melt. They may not have been the first to think up this classic sandwich, but they put a pretty tasty spin on it. This segment is brought to you by Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big.
The final regular season Showdowns at the Star, and we know these games will be played as scheduled. Tonight, Frisco Emerson versus Frisco Independence. What a matchup that is. 8-1, 4-1, both of those teams. And on Friday night, a game that will not be moved due to weather because they play in the Dome here in Frisco. Sherman at Frisco Liberty, and of course, as we welcome you back here to Friday Night Stars. Bill Jones and Kyle Yeomans. Kyle over here, the voice of Frisco ISD, the Showdowns at the Star. You got to be looking forward to tonight's game.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I think this is one of the best games I think I'll have all year long, which is saying something because last week we had a game decided between Heritage and Reedy by a last-second blocked punt. But you look at Emerson and a team in its first varsity season. They started 8-0. They lost their first game to the Argyle Eagles, the #1 team in 5A Division 2. But now they've got a chance to win this game against another one-loss team in Independence. Winner the 2 seed, loser is the 3 seed. Both teams have contrasting styles. Emerson can get on the ground and power their way on the ground game, whereas Independence likes to air it out a little bit more. And then on Friday, I'm really interested about this because Liberty is 0-9. They haven't won a game yet. They lost last week to another winless team in Lebanon Trail. But Sherman has probably been one of the more vulnerable teams on their schedule all season long, but Sherman helped upend District 6 5A Division I and all the playoff scenarios there because they beat Wakeland last week, a team that had won 6 straight games. So it's gotten kind of crazy in Frisco ISD over the last few weeks.
So this is a playoff game for Liberty to get that win.
Got to get it.
That's right. All right, and you set it up, 6 5A Division I. We'll take a look at the standings, and Kyle called the game last week as Reedy became the district champions, blocking a punt in the final seconds to win the game and win a district championship.
Heritage had that game wrapped up, and they had it done. Luckily for Heritage, they are locked into the playoffs either way because of the Wakeland loss. So we've got some scenarios to talk about there, but it was a phenomenal game, and Reedy, perfect regular season. They're going to look to try and make a run at the playoffs.
All right, so you see the standings there. We got 5 teams for 4 playoff spots, and we've got Frisco playing against a Wakeland, a 5-2 Frisco team against a 4-3 Wakeland team.
Yep, exactly right. And basically for this game, it's win and you're in for Frisco. For Wakeland, on the other hand, there's a little bit of a scenario here. You have to win by 4 points in order to be in as the team at all, and you would need a Lone Star win on the other side as well. That's where all the chaos would happen. Wakeland needs to win by 4, and they need a Lone Star win. If Wakeland and Heritage win, then they would have to win by 10 plus in order to be the 3rd seed, and it's back to that 4 plus again. If they win by 4 or more, then they would be the 4th seed there as well. So plenty of different scenarios. They controlled their own destiny until they lost to the Bearcats last week of Sherman. If they would have won that game, all they need is a win, because even though Lone Star beat Frisco last week, that's how it would turn out. But now you've got all these points and scenarios working around. But Reedy, Heritage, Lone Star locked in. That final spot is either going to go to Frisco or to Wakeland, one of those 2 teams.
Okay, and then you got Heritage against Lone Star, and Heritage 5-2, Lone Star 5-2. How about this Jalen Braxton, the wide receiver who is a cornerback commit to Arkansas, number 10 ranked cornerback in the nation, according to 24/7.
He's a phenomenal player. They don't even throw his direction on defense, and then they put him on the offensive side as well, and they'll use him as a wide receiver at times, and he is very elusive, very tough to bring down. And that Heritage defense played really well against Reedy last week, taking on guys that were committed to Texas Tech and Tulane and so on and so forth. They had Division I recruits on the Wolverine side of things that were held at bay. Not the case this week. Both teams have some talent. It should be a good one between Lone Star and Heritage.
Speaking of talent, when we come back here on Friday Night Stars, the talented junior running back for the Duncanville Panthers put on a show last week. We'll tell you about him when we come back in a moment.
This segment was brought to you by Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big. This segment is brought to you by Whataburger. Head over to your hometown Whataburger and try the patty melt. They may not have been the first to think up this classic sandwich, but they put a pretty tasty spin on it.
Show me 5. Hey, show me 5.
It was the Caden Durham show last Friday night when Duncanville battled DeSoto for the District of Doom 11-6A championship. Durham shined in the spotlight, rushing for 309 yards, 5 touchdowns on only 19 carries, leading Duncanville to the big win over DeSoto. An impressive performance for the 4-star running back as Duncanville clinches the top seed in the Division I playoff bracket.
I followed my blocks and scored.
Oh, he's a special back. He practices like that every day. He's that way at school. I can't say enough about him. He's just a great kid.
Only a junior, and he is a track standout as well, and he is being recruited by about every school in the country.
I've got just a couple words for you. On 309 yards and 5 touchdowns, Durham over everybody. I mean, that guy has been phenomenal all year long, and then you turn around and he goes against DeSoto, quite possibly the best team that they have faced all year long up to this point, and then he just goes off like that. My goodness, he is unstoppable, and you can see him pointing the peace sign back at his opponents. It's a rivalry game. It was a massive house, and you talk about a game that was sloppy and gross because of the weather. He took over, and he put that team on his shoulders and allowed them to be really successful in a blowout win over the Eagles.
And again, only a junior, and he can go get it. All right. there is a very important Thursday night game we need to talk about. It is the Melissa Cardinals against the Lovejoy Leopards. District 7 5A Division II championship is on the line. Two teams that are 7-2 on the season, 6-0 in district play.
And two teams that have some offensive firepower. Lovejoy, like you said, the record there, undefeated in district play, leading the area in yardage per game, 512 yards per game on average. They've got 4 Division I caliber wide receivers, and they're led by the LSU commit Kyle Parker, who has 760 yards receiving and 11 touchdowns. Think about how dynamic the Leopards were last season. Now multiply that by 4, because that's exactly what they've been able to do with some of those wideouts. Melissa, on the other side, the Cardinals are they've got some firepower of their own, 470 yards of total offense, and they average 46 points per game. So if you can get Trevor Ham going, the quarterback for Melissa, if he leads the way like he has all season long with 2,200 yards and 32 touchdowns, they may have an opportunity to not only beat Lovejoy and continue their district march, their district championship march, but they have a chance to really make a run in the playoffs.
And you look at Melissa, they started the season with a loss to Argyle, 37-18, and then to China Spring by 1 point. Lovejoy lost to Argyle, 56-49, and then that unbeaten North Crowley team, 28-20. The Argyle game, they were playing without perhaps their best player, who is the junior linebacker Peyton Pierce, one of the top recruits in the country. 6'1", 225 pounds, runs a 4.5 40, being recruited by the likes of Alabama, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Texas, and everybody.
And for Melissa on their side, they spread the ball around quite a bit. They have 5 guys that have received over 100 yards this season. They have 6 guys who have rushed for at least 100 yards at any point this season. So they spread it around. It's a team effort from the Cardinal side of things, but look out for those weapons for the Leopards. That should be a fun one.
All right, our power programs. We're looking for perfection when we come back in just a moment.
Private school in St. Louis, so it wasn't really a lot of competition in my high school football days. But one thing I will say about football, high school football, I believe it's the most pure form of football. It's when you're out there, you're having fun. I mean, that's all that matters. You know, you're not playing for a scholarship. You're not playing for a paycheck. You're playing to go out there trying to win a state championship with your boys you've been going to school with for the past 4 years. And so, I mean, I think from high school football, I think the biggest thing I've gotten is just some lifelong friends. I'll say I'm best friends with, you know, a good amount of guys who I played high school football with, and just those relationships, you know, are priceless.
Zeke played at a small private school in the St. Louis area, and don't you know he just dominated. He had a whole lot of fun there in high school there in St. Louis. All right, time for our power programs of the week, and I'm throwing some love out to the unbeaten teams in Class 6A, and there are 6 of them in the area. Not only unbeaten in district play, they are unbeaten on the season, starting in District 3 6A with North Crowley, then South Lake Carroll, Denton Geyer, Highland Park, Wiley East, and Duncanville. They're all unbeaten on the season, and you look at who they're playing this week, and they're going to stay unbeaten, it looks like.
Yeah, you think so? I mean, even with all the shifting and the moving with the schedule, you think all 6 of these teams are going to be perfect?
I think they will be.
Okay,
right.
Bill Jones guarantee on that one.
Those
I like
are the
it.
6A guys.
And those are really good teams as well. I mean, top to bottom, those are some of the teams you expect to be
tradition-rich.
No doubt about it, including Highland Park, Duncanville. I mean, my goodness. But let's go to the 5A and the 4A perfect powers. I've got some of my own. There's a little bit more here because I'm going across a couple different divisions. But look at Midlothian, a team that hasn't been this good since 1984. Frisco Reedy, they're already done. They wrapped up their perfect season. They did so thanks to a blocked punt late in the ball game.
They're going to wind up with a perfect record.
Yeah, I think they're going to stay 10-0. I think that's a good point. They're going to win their bye week this week. And then Argyle, great team. Anna, a huge surprise, but my goodness, the Coyotes have been absolutely fantastic. And then I like that Caddo Meals squad at the bottom. They're a little bit outside outside of the area. Don't have a ton of pub, but they need to have some pub because they've been fantastic.
All right, the question is, how many of those schools will be perfect come Christmas time?
Ooh, that's a good one because I'm pretty confident like you are in the final week of the regular season. But in terms of making playoff runs, that's when things get dicey around Texas high school football.
Yes, and it's fast approaching. It is next week, postseason time. And the Landry Award voting is fast approaching as well. We'll tell you all about it when we wrap up Friday Night Stars in just a moment.
Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger, was brought to you by Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big. And by Whataburger. Head over to your hometown Whataburger and try the Patty Melt. They may not have been the first to think up this classic sandwich, but they put a pretty tasty spin on it.
Time to wrap up Friday Night Stars, as we always do, with our Landry Award watch list for this week. And this week we are focusing on some of the top wide receivers in the area. Statistically, these are your receiving yardage leaders in the area, starting with a fellow MacArthur Cardinal. Kyle Yeoman's injured Brandon Henderson.
Yeah, you had to get to your alma mater there a little bit, right? I mean, he has been leading the area in receiving. I kind of find it surprising the fact that we only have 4 names up there right now. Of course, we still have one more week of the regular season that have hit 1,000 yards catching the football this season. Usually you'd have 7 or 8 guys on that list, maybe even more. So maybe North Texas is running the football a little bit more. So we're getting back to the ground and pound a little bit.
I'm seeing some 2 tight end offenses out there as well around the area too. And of course, 2 of the last 3 Landry Award winners were wide receivers. The voting is coming up starting in a couple of weeks. For Kyle Yeomans, I'm Bill Jones. We appreciate you joining us here for Friday Night Stars. Enjoy your Thursday night and Friday night football, and we'll do a playoff preview next week.